YouTube, I'm Table News, and today we're going to be reacting to God of War, Original Saga Story Summary, What You Need to Know by Suggestive Gaming. This video was actually suggested to me by a fan of mine over on our Twitch channel, which if you haven't already, go follow at Table News. We play and stream Saturday, Sunday, Monday, noon to 3 p.m. EST time, so make sure you join in for the fun. Anyway, this viewer, Ninja Peter, suggested this video to me because we started a playthrough of God of War 2018 on the hardest difficulty settings because I'm a masochist. And basically I thought, oh, it'd be a good idea to go watch this video to get some context, as I have never ever heard of this game series before and I know nothing about it. So I'm very excited. I hope you're excited. Make sure to drop a subscribe and a like to show your support for the channel, and let's get on with it.
With the upcoming God of War for PS4, we see series protagonist Kratos taking on a new mythological foe, so we here at Suggestive Gaming figured now would be a good time to go over Kratos' first set of opposition, the Greek Pantheon. So strap yourself in, because this is what you need to know about the entire original God of War saga, from start to finish. Our story begins with the Primordials, the very first beings to come into existence, fighting for control of their creation, Earth. This war ravished the world, and eventually the three Furies were born from the rage and power of the battle. The Furies were then tasked to honor oaths between the various beings of Earth. Their first victim was the Hecatoncheires, Aegeon, who had broken an oath to one of the first gods, Zeus. To make an example of Aegeon, the Furies petrify his body into the prison of the damned for anyone who dared to break an oath in the future. Eventually, the Furies began to take guidance from the god of war, Ares, who convinced them to join him in a siege on Olympus. Believing their forces to be too weak, the Queen of the Furies, Alecto, birthed a son with Ares, hoping to create a powerful warrior. This war—
Okay, we're already, what, 57 seconds into this video, and I'm already feel like I'm getting a mythology lesson, which I guess kind of makes sense. But man, okay, that's a lot. But I guess it kind of makes sense. I'm just wondering how this is going to relate to Kratos and his kid, but we'll see.
Warrior Orcos proved to be a failure in Ares' eyes and was disowned. However, the Furies decided to use him as their oath keeper. With Ares still in search for his warrior to help take over Olympus, Zeus hears of a prophecy foretelling his death at the hands of one of his sons, a marked warrior. Ares is then tasked to find and dispose of this threat. Ares discovers Deimos, a young Spartan who bore a birthmark all over his body, and storms the city to capture him. During the kidnapping, Deimos' brother, another young Spartan by the name of Kratos, attempts to stop the god, but he is struck down, leaving a scar over his right eye. Ares attempts to kill Kratos for this, but his sister, Athena, the goddess of war, convinces him to spare the boy. Deimos is then taken to the god of death, Thanatos, to prevent the prophecy and protect Zeus. Kratos—
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but based on what I know from mythology, I'm pretty sure, wasn't it like, I know Zeus was told that, yeah, he was going to be smited down by one of his sons, but I believe how it actually happened was that he ended up eating his own son to prevent that, or maybe I'm mixing that up with someone else, but yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting departure, unless it's like I'm just thinking of something completely wrong and like, but yeah, interesting.
tortured by his inability to save his brother, vows to never fail like that again, and tattoos a replica of Deimos' birthmark on himself in remembrance. Kratos' rage and pain remained with him as he became a leading member of the Spartan army, eventually marrying a Spartan woman named Lysandra, and the two have a daughter whom they name Calliope.
Okay. Oh, wait, no, that's not the son. Okay, I'm wondering where the son is coming into this, but I'm guessing because the mother ends up dying by or is dead by the time God of War 2018 comes around. So I think this is like the very, very long plot. But anyway, let's continue.
Calliope unfortunately contracts a plague, which infects her skin and causes the Spartan authorities to decide for her to be thrown into a chasm and left to die. Kratos then sets off to find the cure for her disease, a mysterious element with the exceptional healing abilities called ambrosia. Unbeknownst to Kratos, the gods had a wager in which they selected various heroes whom they believed would be the first to obtain the ambrosia. Kratos was chosen by Ares, likely due to their prior run-in in which Kratos displayed his resilience and bravery. After battling the other gods' selected heroes, Kratos fights a climactic battle with an army of barbarians and their leader Ulrich, who was trying to retrieve the ambrosia to heal his own father. Kratos eventually bests Ulrich and captures the ambrosia, but at the cost of many of his men. Upon returning to Sparta, Kratos heals his daughter, and the king of Sparta bestows on him the title of captain.
Wait, but so the daughter was the one who was sick? I thought it was the wife who was sick. So I'm guessing the wife got the child sick, and so the wife was thrown away. and so he wanted to save the child. And that's what I'm getting right now. But that was, I don't know, that was a little confusing.
As captain of the Spartan army, Kratos leads his men to many victorious battles, often slaying scores of enemies with an increasing hunger for power, despite the wishes of his wife. Eventually, Kratos comes across a familiar enemy, the barbarian King Ulrich, who still blames Kratos for his father's death. Kratos and his army are no match for the rebuilt barbarian army, and Kratos, moments away from death at the hands of Ulrich, calls out to Ares in desperation. Ares, seeing a candidate to overthrow Olympus, accepts Kratos' offer of loyalty and kills the barbarians in exchange. He then gives Kratos the Blades of Chaos, symbolizing his servitude to the god of war.
Oh, okay. See, I was a little confused because everyone in my chat was like, oh yeah, Kratos is the god of war. But I'm like, no, Ares is the god of war. So what does he have to do with him? So that makes a lot of sense. This whole thing of like humans becoming servitudes of like Greek gods. I mean, I think the most famous example of it would probably be within the Odyssey, or it's either the Odyssey or the Iliad. But basically, in that case, I guess Athena is more acting as a guide to the main character, and not so much the main character is not so much indentured under her servitude. But I think there's some parallels here that I think they drew definitely from the Odyssey and the Iliad, but like more so to fit the style of this game.
Under Ares' loyalty, Kratos slays many innocents, razes villages, and spreads chaos in the name of him. Under Ares' influence, Kratos slowly loses his humanity with every battle fought for the god. Soon, Kratos is tasked to raid a village of Athena's followers due to Ares' jealousy of Athena, whom their father Zeus favored. There, he encounters an oracle who warns Kratos of dark things awaiting him inside the city's temple.
That's pretty much how it also works in the Iliad/Odyssey, is that Athena comes by and like acts as a guide and is like, yo, bad stuff's going to happen unless you don't listen to me. So
Kratos ignores this warning and enters the temple, blindly slaughtering those inside. However, afterwards, Kratos comes to realize that those inside the temple were none other than his beloved wife Lysandra and daughter Calliope. Ares reveals that he had transported them there secretly in order to sever Kratos'
oh my goodness. Wait, no. Is this the wife? But I'm guessing this is like a second wife or something, because I thought the first one died of the plague. So I'm guessing the second one. Wow, that's so messed up, man. Well, now I can kind of see why he's so kind of like downtrodden. But then I still understand who is the woman in God of War 2018 yet? Is that this woman? Or is it someone else? I'm guessing it's someone else, but let's see.
Human ties and create the perfect warrior. Kratos leaves the bodies of his family inside the temple to burn, and as he exits, the oracle curses him, binding the ashes of his wife and child to Kratos' skin, forcing him to wear another reminder of his failures and turning him into the ghost of Sparta.
Oh my goodness. So his skin is so pale and white because it's covered in the ashes of his dead wife and child? Oh my God. You know, if you weren't here for the playthrough that we did, or that we started, of God of War 2018, I literally asked chat and I made a joke about this color of his skin because I was like, oh, what, does Kratos just believe in critical race theory? But oh man, I didn't expect when my chatter said that it was so much worse than that it actually was that. That's so messed up, man. Oh my goodness. Ooh, okay.
Kratos then renounces his allegiance to Ares and breaks his oath, causing the Furies to hunt him down and torture him with endless illusions. Kratos then finds himself trapped in an illusion of his former home in Sparta. Orcos appears before him and helps him break the illusion using Lysandra's necklace and ring. Orcos then convinces Kratos to seek out Aletheia, the oracle at Delphi. He finds the oracle captured, but is unable to prevent her from being mortally wounded. Before her death, she informs Kratos that the only way he can be free of his oath to Ares would be to slay the Oath's enforcers, the Three Furies. Kratos returns to Orcos, who informs him of Ares' true intentions all along to use him to overthrow Zeus. With this knowledge, Kratos travels to Delos to slay the Furies. Upon his arrival, however, he is ambushed and captured by them, and they proceed to torture him in the prison of the damned. After 2 weeks of torture, one of the Furies leaves an opening for Kratos to exploit and escape his imprisonment. After various battles and illusions, Kratos is able to outsmart and outfight the Furies, slaying all 3 of them. After the death of the Furies...
If I'm not incorrect, the Fates... honestly, I'm gonna be so for real. I'm kind of going off my knowledge from like the Hercules movie, like the Disney one, but like they're kind of the similar thing. Like the Fates, right? Like one of them is holding the string, one of them is cutting it, like one of them is measuring it or something like that. So they're kind of like symbolic of fate, right? But for some reason, I thought that if you got rid of those people, that people would live on forever. Because I remember there's like this story that I heard of where like this guy basically cheated death by like shoving him down a well or something and like trapping him. But I guess that's like, I don't know if that would be Thanatos or would that be, I don't know, what, Hades? Like I don't really know what the difference between all of them is. Like what is the purpose of the fates? And if the fates are gone, then like how does that affect civilization? You know what I mean? Like, because aren't they the ones like deciding when people die? You know?
Kratos returns to his home in Sparta, where he finds Orcos, who reveals to Kratos that while he had killed the Furies, they transferred Kratos' oath to him, keeping the bond with Ares intact. Orcos hands Kratos his blade and asks him for an honorable death in order to permanently end Ares' hold on them. Kratos complies, killing Orcos and burning his home with the former Oathkeeper's body still inside. No longer under servitude to Ares.
You know, man, he has a thing for just burning homes down. Did anyone notice that? I think it's like the third time that he's burned a home down. But
Kratos dedicates his life to serving the gods of Olympus as their trusted warrior. After defeating an invading Persian army for the gods, Kratos appears before them to ask for his next task. Suddenly, however, he sees the sun fall from the sky, enveloping the world in darkness. Kratos follows the last trace of light he can see to the temple of Helios. After speaking to Athena, Kratos concludes that Helios had been captured, allowing the god of dreams Morpheus to entrance other gods into a deep sleep, allowing him to take control of Greece. Inside the temple, Ios, Helios' sister, tasks Kratos to awaken her brother's fire steeds in order to find him. In return, she promises to relieve Kratos of his nightmares, which haunt him in the form of a melody his daughter used to play on her flute. He does this, and the steeds take him to Helios' location, the Underworld. There, he meets Charon, the ferryman on the river Styx, who ultimately denies Kratos passage, as it is not his time. Kratos engages him, but is knocked unconscious and thrown into Tartarus, the darkest depths of the underworld where the Titans had been chained by Zeus. Upon waking, Kratos witnesses Atlas's chains broken and the Titan missing. Kratos fights his way through Tartarus, eventually climbing out to confront Charon once again. After defeating him, Kratos uses his ferry to follow Helios' light down the river Styx to a temple. There, Kratos sees his daughter upon the shore. He follows her inside, but instead finds Persephone, the queen of the underworld. Persephone reveals to Kratos that he can meet his daughter once again, and she is now residing in the Elysium Fields. Persephone tells Kratos that to see his daughter, he must make a sacrifice, to give up all of his weapons and powers given to him by the gods. Kratos does this, transferring his powers into the Forsaken Tree, and regains his humanity. He reunites with his daughter, but the reunion is interrupted by Persephone, who reveals her true intentions. She reveals that it was her who released Atlas, whom she tasked with destroying the pillar that holds the earth. She intends for this to kill everyone, including herself, to free her from her imprisonment by Hades as his wife. Kratos...
I mean, you know, man, if you know the story of Persephone, like she still, I believe she gets to go up to Earth, right? Every once in a while, like because she like ate a bunch of pomegranates and like every seed is supposed to represent a day or something, right? Like what that, knowing that, it makes no sense that she would just want to end everything just so that she wouldn't be under Hades' thumb, you know? Like, I don't know how I feel about that. That's kind of, I feel like that's a mischaracterization on their part, but you know, what do I know? Also, I find it interesting that the story so far of Kratos and his daughter is kind of the same thing that's kind of going on with Persephone. They're kind of like two sides of the same coin almost, where like Persephone wants to go up to the surface. So those are the two things that cannot come together. And then here you can see Kratos and his daughter, same sort of thing, meant to be apart. They come together for a short amount of time, but then they're taken apart from one another. I just thought that was an interesting thing. So.
Painfully makes the decision to give up his ability to see his daughter and regains his weapons from the tree. Doing this, he once again becomes the ghost of Sparta and, against his daughter's wishes, takes off to stop Persephone. Kratos finds the queen at the base of the pillar, and she carries him to the top. There, the two engage in a final battle. During this battle, Persephone attempts to confuse Kratos and convince him to return to Elysium to be with his daughter. Kratos resists this, however, and Persephone orders Atlas to take care of him. Atlas does not get this chance, however, as Kratos chains the Titan to the ceiling of the underworld and returns to Persephone, besting her in battle and killing her. Her body explodes, destroying the pillar and leaving Atlas as the only thing holding the world together. Atlas, though defeated, taunts Kratos as he remains a slave to the gods. Kratos accepts this fate, as he can only hope that serving the gods will cause them to one day free him from his nightmares.
You know, one thing I don't understand as well, or not that I don't understand it, I don't get, so Persephone's plan, I'm guessing, was to have Kratos stay with his daughter, right? So that he wouldn't stop her from breaking the pillar and destroying the world. My thing is, though, if once he knew that, like, why, there's no reason for him to stay there, because wouldn't him and his daughter also be destroyed by the pillar being destroyed? Unless I'm like getting the tiers wrong, you know, unless it's like she's trying to destroy like the physical world. Because like another big thing with mythology is like that there's like different levels, almost like you have the I don't know the specific names, but it's like you have the earth, and then you have like underneath it, and then that's where kind of like Hades and like the gods of death are, and like the river Styx and everything. So I think it might just be a issue of the video and the wording itself, but it's a little confusing. Like, why would he just stay with his daughter if he knows like everything's going to be destroyed anyway, you know? But anyway, let's get back to this.
Atlas then predicts to Kratos that they will meet again before Kratos leaves to return Helios to the sky. Weak, and now knowing that his sins will never allow him to see his daughter again, Kratos falls from the chariot, landing on a cliff overlooking the Aegean Sea. Sometime after waking, Kratos is sent into the sea to kill a Hydra and return peace to the waters. After doing so, he is approached by Athena, who asks Kratos to save her city, Athens, from her brother Ares, whose army is currently advancing. Kratos, seeing an opportunity to get revenge on Ares, agrees on the condition that the gods free him of his nightmares once and for all, as well as offer him a chance at redemption. Kratos enters Athens to find the town's oracle, who tells him that in order for a mortal to defeat a god, he must seek the power of Pandora's box, which is locked inside a temple constructed on the back of the titan Kronos, who Zeus cursed to wander the desert of lost souls for eternity. Kratos makes his way to the temple, encountering a mysterious gravedigger on the way. Inside the temple, Kratos solves several puzzles in order to find Pandora's box. However, Ares senses this and throws a pillar from Athens, impaling Kratos and killing him. Ares then arrives and steals the box as Kratos dies and returns to the underworld.
Oh, okay. I got really confused for a second because I was like, what? Like, I was about to say, like, oh, is God of War 2018 a whole dream sequence? Because how is he dead? But then I forgot because it's like Greek themed or whatever. Like, they just go to the underworld and they can escape. So I'm guessing he has to escape now since he actually died, you know?
With help from the gravedigger, who refers to Kratos as my child, he is able to climb from Hades and return to Athens.
Okay, never mind. I guess it's super easy to just die and be rebirthed. You know, you just climb a rope up.
He opens Pandora's box and gains the power to confront Ares. After a battle, Ares tortures Kratos by forcing him to relive his family's death at his hands. Kratos resists this, however, and Ares is forced to strip the blades of chaos from Kratos' arms and kills the illusions of his family in front of him. Freed from the illusion, Kratos finds a nearby sword being used as an ornamental bridge and uses it to kill the god of war. The gods praise Kratos for killing the rebelling Ares.
Okay, again, we're going back to the fates thing, dude. Like, if you just get rid of a god, like, what does that do on the actual world itself, dude? Like, I guess there has to be, like, some level of, like, suspension of disbelief, right? But, like, bro, you just killed the god of war, dude. So, what, is there just no more war anymore? Like, what? Anyway, let's get back.
Kratos then asks Athena to finally free him of his nightmares. Athena then finally reveals to Kratos that while she can forgive his sins, his nightmares will stay with him forever. Kratos, feeling abandoned by the gods, climbs back to the cliffs overlooking the Aegean Sea, and feeling death as his only escape, throws himself off. However, Athena stops him at the bottom, claiming that there is now an empty throne upon Olympus. Kratos then enters a portal and claims his throne as the new god of war.
Okay.
Still haunted.
Okay, so now that makes sense. Okay, so he's not just a servant. He became a servant, and then he killed the god of death, and then he basically usurped him as the god of war. Sorry, not death, war. Okay, yeah, okay, I got it now. I got it.
By his memories, Kratos decides to explore his past against Athena's wishes. He makes his way to the Temple of Poseidon in Atlantis. Poseidon attempts to stop Kratos, but he defeats his defenses and reaches the city. There, Kratos finds, much to his surprise, his mother, Callisto, dying on the ground. She reveals to him that his father is the one who brought her there, and that his brother Deimos is still alive but does not have much time. Before dying, she tells Kratos to seek out his brother in Sparta. Kratos then departs Atlantis, but not before encountering the Titan Thera, whom he frees, destroying the city in a flood. Kratos returns to Sparta, but on his way encounters and kills Thanatos' daughter, Erinis. Upon his arrival to the city, he is praised by its inhabitants, led by a young Spartan who gives Kratos his arms from when he was the commander of the Spartan army. Kratos goes to the Temple of Ares, and after encountering a spirit-like vision of his younger self, he learns that he must return to Atlantis to find Death's domain. Upon returning, however, Kratos is stopped by a statue of Poseidon, inhabited by the god, who warns him that he will pay for sinking the kingdom of Atlantis. Kratos avoids the statue and makes his way through the ruins of the city, eventually coming across the Gravedigger once again, who cryptically warns Kratos not to alienate the gods. Kratos then finds the gateway to Death Domain. Inside, Kratos finds and frees his brother, who becomes enraged at him for seemingly forgetting about him for all this time. Thanatos...
Bro. No. Okay. Oh, man, dude. People are just so irrational sometimes, dude. Like, bro, he literally came to get you and free you. And you... and the first thing he's like, oh, dude, you forgot about me. Bro, if he forgot about you, he would never come and get you. Like, bro. Oh, my God.
Kratos arrives and intervenes, capturing Deimos and bringing him to the same cliff Kratos attempted to kill himself from. Kratos saves his brother and the two reconcile. Kratos gives Deimos his arms, and the two fight Thanatos together. During the battle, Thanatos kills Deimos, and Kratos avenges his brother by finally killing the god of death. A broken Kratos then carries his brother up the mountain, where the Gravedigger has prepared a grave for him. Kratos ponders what he has become, and the Gravedigger answers, Death, the destroyer of worlds. Athena appears before him and attempts to elevate him to a full god. Kratos stops her, however, and returns to Olympus, claiming that the gods will pay for what they have done to Kratos and his family. As he leaves, Athena mythically refers to him as brother. The Gravedigger then buries Callisto next to Deimos and proclaims upon a third grave that now only one remains, as Kratos returns to his throne and plans his next move against the gods, leading his Spartan army to conquer Greece.
So did no one just like take over the role of god of death anymore? Like, okay, I could understand like, okay, maybe we can live without the fates, right? Like people just die randomly, you know? But you literally killed the god of death, dude. So like how is death happening? Who is the god of death now?
After launching this attack, Athena pleads with Kratos to stop. He claims to owe her nothing and turns his back on her to assist his army in the town of Rhodes. There he spots an eagle, whom he believes to be Athena in disguise, whom robs him of his godly abilities, and instead infuses them into the Colossus of Rhodes, who comes to life and tries to kill Kratos. Zeus arrives and offers Kratos the Blade of Olympus, which he once used to win the great war between the gods and the Titans. Zeus urges Kratos to infuse the blades with his remaining godly powers, which renders him mortal once again, but allows him to destroy the Colossus from the inside. Upon doing this, however, Kratos is crushed by the Colossus' severed hand. Determining that he must retrieve the Blade of Olympus to get his immortality back, he slowly makes his way over to it, only to be stopped by Zeus, who reveals himself to be the eagle that stole Kratos' power, in an attempt to kill him to stop him from overthrowing Zeus as he did with Ares. Zeus then stabs Kratos, killing him. While he is being dragged into the underworld once more, the mother of the Titans, Gaia, saves him and reveals that Kronos, Zeus' father, ate all of his children in an attempt to stop the prophecy that he would die.
You know, okay, this is like a really niche thing. Let me just go back a little bit to show you this. Where's the hands thing? It's like, crap, sorry, I'm trying to find the spot. This image, right, of people going down, being dragged by hands. This reminds me of a film that maybe some of you have watched. It's called, what's it called? Oh, The Princess and the Frog. I think it's The Princess and the Frog. Because... Or maybe, no, I'm thinking of Hercules, which I guess that makes more sense. But I think the same thing might have happened in The Princess and the Frog, where like the main villain gets dragged down in a cemetery. And I think there's a similar image in that to this. But I might be mistaking that for Hercules, because I know in Hercules, this definitely happens, where he's being dragged down by hands. Or maybe I'm remembering it wrong. I got no clue.
Underworld once more, the mother of the Titans, Gaia, saves him and reveals that Kronos, Zeus' father, ate all of his children in an attempt to stop the prophecy that he would die at the hands of one of his sons.
Okay, so they do. Okay, you know what? You know, good job. Good job, Game Does. They actually addressed the lore that I was talking about before. Very good job. So yeah, as he was saying, like Zeus was destined, or I think it was Zeus. Yeah, was destined to be killed by one of his children, so he ended up eating all of them. So
Zeus's mother, however, hid him on an island that was actually Gaia. Gaia raised the boy, but he grew vengeful and eventually sought to defeat the Titans, which he did by using the Blade of Olympus. Gaia offers to help Kratos exact revenge on the King of Olympus. Gaia gives Kratos the magical horse Pegasus, and he escapes the underworld to find the Sisters of Fate in order to change his past and kill Zeus. Kratos flies to the Island of Creation, and after besting several powerful foes, including a risen Ulrich, he comes across Icarus, whom he strips of his wings, plummeting below the earth and landing upon Atlas. Originally refusing to help Kratos,
Man, this guy's a savage, man. Bro, he's just like, he just does not want to deal with anybody's crap, dude. He's like, Icarus, nope, you're out of there, dude. Whee! Oh my goodness. Imagine if this was actually like the lore. Because like Icarus flew into the sun, dog. But imagine the sun was actually just Kratos just coming in. It's like, oh, he thought it was the sun, but it was actually just like the elbow of Kratos that was just so massive.
still holding begrudgment over his imprisonment at the Spartans' hands, Atlas is eventually persuaded to help him kill Zeus. Atlas helps Kratos return to the surface, where he awakens the Phoenix and flies to the Temple of the Fates to meet the sisters. There he expresses his wishes, but the sisters deny him passage. Kratos then confronts the youngest sisters, Lachesis and Atropos, who attempt to take him back to his battle with Ares and force him to die by the god's hand in the past. He avoids this effort and traps the sisters in a mirror, then destroying it to seal them away for eternity. Kratos then makes his way to the eldest sister, Clotho, who operates the Loom of Fate. Kratos kills the final sister and takes control of the loom to change his fate. He turns the thread of fate back to his death at the hands of Zeus and saves his past self by reclaiming the blade of Olympus before Zeus has a chance to. The two then engage in a battle until Zeus stuns Kratos with a lightning storm. Kratos plays possum and pins Zeus before driving the blade of Olympus into the god's chest. Before he can kill him, however, Athena appears and intervenes to protect Olympus. Zeus attempts to escape, Kratos lunges at him with the blade, and Athena sacrifices herself by jumping in front of it, saving her father. Kratos asks Athena why she would do this, and she reveals that she did it to allow Zeus to stop the cycle of sons killing their fathers, finally revealing that Kratos is in fact a son of Zeus. Vowing to destroy Olympus, Kratos returns to the loom and turns back.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay. So he's destined to kill Zeus. Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. Okay, so basically they took like the story of like Zeus being killed off by one of his sons and applied it to Kratos, which I think is pretty damn cool.
Time all the way to the Great War. He calls out to Gaia and they return to Kratos' time, where an injured Zeus is calling on his fellow gods to kill Kratos. The Titan army, led by Kratos, then storm Olympus with the intent to win the Great War once and for all. The Titans and gods wage a very intense and bloody battle as Poseidon begins to take on Gaia. Kratos draws him into Gaia's grasp and is able to weaken him, eventually knocking him onto a platform and beating him before gouging his eyes out and snapping his neck, killing him and flooding the entire world. Kratos and the Titans then make it to the top of Olympus and confront Zeus, who, anticipating their arrival, hits them with a blast of lightning, damages Gaia, and knocks her and Kratos off the mountain. Attempting to hang on, Kratos is then betrayed by Gaia, who lets him fall as he is no longer a use to them now that they have reached Zeus's throne. After falling once again to his death, Kratos makes his way through the river Styx, lamenting that he was used as a pawn by both the gods and the Titans. He then reunites with a reformed Athena, who is willing to help Kratos from her new level of existence. He then realizes the goal of his final quest, extinguishing the flame of Olympus in order to finally defeat Zeus. To do this, however, he must find Pandora, the child of Pandora's box's namesake. Kratos makes his way through Hades and eventually finds Hades' palace, and the dead body of Persephone. Hades arrives and the two battle before Kratos defeats the god, sealing his soul into his own weapons. Kratos then escapes Hades through a gate and encounters Helios, whose head Kratos proceeds to rip off. He then encounters...
You know, man, I just love the jump cut there. He's like, oh yeah, they met up, and then...
Hermes, who he kills, and later his own half-brother Hercules, whom he also kills. Kratos meets with Aphrodite and her husband Hephaestus in order to find their daughter Pandora. Hephaestus refuses to lead Kratos to her, however, and reveals that after Kratos opened Pandora's box, Zeus became overcome with fear and forced Hephaestus to reveal to the creation of the key of the box, which later took on a life of its own as a girl whom he named Pandora. Zeus then took Pandora and banished Hephaestus. Kratos urges Hephaestus, who tasks him with retrieving the Omphalos stone in order to make a weapon to allow Kratos to find Pandora. In his attempt to find the stone, Kratos comes across Kronos, who assumes he has tried to kill Gaia and attacks him. Kratos fights Kronos and eventually frees the temple from the Titan's body before he eats Kratos. Inside his stomach, Kratos retrieves the Omphalos stone and cuts his way out and kills Kronos once and for all. Kratos confronts Hephaestus, who reveals that he was trying to send him on a suicide mission. Hephaestus attempts to feign innocence before trying to kill Kratos instead. Kratos shakes this off and kills him by impaling him on his own anvil before heading off to retrieve Pandora. Kratos' quest takes him to the Gardens of Olympus, where he finds Hera, the wife of Zeus, drunken and belligerent. After making his way through the gardens, Hera confronts Kratos once again, insulting Pandora and causing Kratos to lash out and snap her neck, causing all plant life to die. Kratos makes it to the labyrinth and finds Daedalus, the labyrinth's architect. Trapped inside, Daedalus claims that Zeus promised him that he would have his son Icarus back once he completed the labyrinth. Kratos reveals that Icarus was in fact dead before activating a trap and killing the architect.
Oh my god, bro. I hope he at least told him that he was the one who did it, dog. Because, like, that's crazy. He was just like, oh, well, I guess I promised you something, but actually they're gone. So.
Inside the labyrinth, Kratos finds Pandora and takes her with him. In the flame of Olympus's chamber, Kratos raises the labyrinth to access Pandora's box. However, Kratos refuses to let Pandora sacrifice her life, as he does not want to cause her death as he did his own daughters. She chooses to embrace her fate, however, and breaks free, only to be stopped by Zeus. Zeus mocks Kratos for showing care for Pandora as if she was his own, and tosses her aside before engaging in battle with his son once again.
Honestly, though, I kind of got to side with Zeus here, bro, because there's so many times, like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but like, why Hercules, dog? Like, Hercules is a hero, no? Like, out of everyone that he could have gotten rid of, I feel like Hercules should have been like the last person, you know? But like, he's just caused so much destruction to everyone around him that it feels very selfish of him to only care about somebody because it reminds him of his own daughter, you know?
During the battle, Pandora attempts to run into the flame in order to put it out before Kratos grabs her to stop her. Pandora pleads with Kratos to let her seal her fate, and Zeus provokes him by telling him not to fail Pandora like he did his own family. Kratos reluctantly lets her go, and the flame of Olympus is extinguished. In the wake, Kratos opens Pandora's box once again, only to find that it is now empty. Zeus mocks his son once again, and the two meet outside and gaze upon the destruction Kratos has caused. The two are interrupted by Gaia, however, and she tries to kill them both. The two then enter a wound in Gaia's chest and fight beside her heart, draining the life out of it. Kratos, powered by the heart of Gaia, then impales Zeus into it with the blade of Olympus, finally killing both Gaia and his father Zeus. Awakening upon a broken earth, Kratos finds Zeus's body and retrieves the blade. However, as he tries to leave, Zeus's spirit attacks Kratos and drains him of his anger and willpower, replacing it with fear and loss, the forces that plagued his father. Trapped in his psyche and once again being tortured by his memories, the spirit of Pandora appears and helps Kratos abolish these torments through hope. Kratos returns to the physical world and forces Zeus's spirit back into his body. Kratos then charges him and beats him to death with his bare hands, finally killing him and destroying Olympus for good. Afterwards, Athena appears once more and congratulates Kratos, asking him to turn over the power he found inside Pandora's box so she could finally give it to mankind. Kratos laments that the world is destroyed, and anything she would have to give would be useless. More so, the box was empty, and Kratos believed Pandora had died in vain, simply another casualty in his quest for vengeance. Athena reveals to Kratos that when the evils of the Titans were first sealed into the box, she placed the most powerful weapon in the world beside them to counteract them, the power of hope. Athena had initially believed that when Kratos opened the box for the first time, all of its evils had transferred unto him, and hope was lost, when in actuality the evils went to the gods on Olympus and hope was buried deep in Kratos under his pains. Only upon forgiving himself was the power able to release inside of him. Kratos.
Oh, wow. You know what? Honestly, again, props to the devs, dude, because the actual story of Pandora's box does, well, it kind of happens that way, right? It doesn't happen with all the fighting and stuff, but hope is supposedly sealed within Pandora's box. So that makes a lot of sense. And I feel like where it's going right now is that the hope is that humanity can live on without the need of Olympus or the gods or anything like that. And I believe, I know I'm making predictions now, but we got like 2 minutes left. But so humanity will live on without the gods so that Kratos can hopefully live on just as a normal person. That's what I'm thinking right now. I could be dead wrong, you know, in like 2 minutes, but we'll see.
Realizing he has nothing left to live for, impales himself with the blade of Olympus, freeing the power of hope into the mortal world. Athena is angered by this and tells Kratos that she is disappointed, to which he responds with a final laugh before she removes the blade, leaving him to die. Sometime later, we see the mural where Kratos' body once was, now abandoned, with nothing but a trail of blood leading to the great sea that now enveloped the world. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching what has become the biggest What You Need to Know yet. We appreciate all of your support.
Wait. You can't just leave me like that. Wait, how do we get to... Oh, no. Wait, I'm actually confused now because how do we get to God of War 2018 now? I mean, something must have happened, right? I'm guessing, like, he escaped again, but then his goal was to restore humanity. It'd be very interesting to see if there's like a follow-up video to this that kind of explains the lead up into God of War 2018, because I feel like there's a lot of context that I'm kind of missing right now. Okay, well, that was a really, really cool video. Honestly, I was going to say that I was a little surprised by it because I was totally expecting this to lead straight into God of War 2018's plot. So I'm kind of left trying to figure out how to bridge the gap now. So I'm hoping there's another video that explains that sort of thing. I can really appreciate this video because I think it goes in depth into how Kratos became the person that he is now. Because one of the main things that I can now know is that I feel like the newer games, just a prediction, but they're going to be him trying to atone for his sins against the gods and the world itself. Because basically the moral would be his blinding rage and fury caused the destruction of the world that he so desperately just wanted to free, you know? And in the meantime, I'm guessing that he got another wife and tried to start his life up again without the influence of the gods anymore. And something happened which caused the wife to pass away with a new child. So I think that there's definitely a lot from this that I can take when I'm doing this playthrough, which if you haven't already, you should totally go check out my playthrough of God of War 2018, which is happening on Twitch. So that's going to be it for today, honestly. But I hope you enjoyed the video and make sure to like and subscribe. I'm Table News and I'm heading out.